Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for sticking with us and welcome to 284 Media. On Tuesday, May 10th, 2022, during a national address, Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, fired some six ministers, appointed a new Deputy Prime Minister and dissolved the Parliament, giving way for elections. Harris Tuesday said he had asked the Governor General to dissolve Parliament with immediate effect after announcing the dismissal of several ministers, including his deputy, Shawn Richards, and Nevis Premier Mark Brantley, along with Lindsey Grant, Janelle Powell, Alexis Jeffers, and Eric Evelyn. Today we are joined by former Deputy Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, who is also the representative for constituency number 5, Sir Shawn Richards, who is going to provide his take today on the situation on the ground in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as the political future of that nation. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial, turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I even watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Viewers, welcome back and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I am joined by Mr. Shawn K. Richards, the former Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, who is also the representative for constituency number 5. Mr. Richards, I want to thank you so much for your time and welcome to 284 Media. By extension, welcome to the BVI virtually.
Good day, Ron. Thank you very much for having me on this program, 284 Live. I also take the opportunity to say a very special good day to all of the people of the British Virgin Islands. I am aware that within recent times, you have had your own political calamities there. However, I also note that efforts are being made to ensure that there is a political stability. I want to wish the people of the British Virgin Islands the very best, and I do hope that going forward, you are able to, as best as possible, bring some sense of peace, some sense of stability within your political situation.
Thank you so much for those kind words. As mentioned on Tuesday, the Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis fired some 6 members, including yourself. You were a part of the coalition government, the unity government that really led the territory, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis for the past few years. Mr. Richards, I want to put it into perspective. As a sitting member, former sitting member of that coalition unity government, what has happened that would have led us to this point?
In 2012, we had the formation of the Team Unity Coalition. The coalition consisted of 3 political parties: the People's Action Movement, of which I am the leader, the Concerned Citizens Movement, which was led then by the late Ambassador Vance Amry. That party is now led by the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, and of course the People's Labour Party, which is led by Dr. Harris. When we decided to form Team Unity, we had a number of agreements, not just amongst the 3 political parties, but agreements that we also made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We actually signed what was referred to as the Charlestown Accord. In 2015, the people gave Team Unity a mandate to govern the affairs of St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course, to keep the promises that we made to each other and also to the people. We recognize that during the term from 2015 to 2020, that Prime Minister Harris had been doing a number of things which we were not in favor of. For example, one of the key tenets of the Charlestown Accord referred to the sharing of revenue between St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Harris has never kept that promise. The Premier of Nevis has been asking for Nevis to receive its fair share. To date, Nevis is yet to receive its fair share. Additionally, the accord spoke to ensuring that all citizens receive their fair share of the resources. We have, however, recognized that Dr. Harris has been on a path of ensuring that his supporters and his constituents, more so than anyone else, receive government resources in an excess as compared to others. We spoke about the good governance agenda. Some of the things included in the good governance agenda include integrity in public life and ensuring that that piece of legislation is actually working, giving it effect because the legislation is actually already in place. We spoke about freedom of information. We spoke about electoral reform, boundary changes. We're still yet to see those being implemented. We have had an agreement amongst the three political parties in terms of the constituencies in which each political party is expected to run candidates during an election. What Dr. Harris has set about doing is to establish PLP in all of the constituencies in St. Kitts in an effort to undermine the People's Action Movement and to run candidates in all of the constituencies. We have spoken to him about those issues and many other issues. We attempted to have 2 meetings with Dr. Harris. He never came to those meetings with any meaningful resolution. We then wrote a letter to Dr. Harris, giving him a deadline to respond to the concerns that we raised. We gave him a deadline of Wednesday of the following week after that letter had been sent to him. Interestingly, he did not send a reply to us until after 1 a.m. in the morning the following Thursday. In that 18-page response that he sent to us, he dismissed every single concern that we had raised. As a result of that, we decided that he has no meaningful desire to compromise and to discuss the issues. Coming out of that, we therefore sent a letter to the Governor General, signed by the 6 MPs who he dismissed, indicating that we no longer have confidence in Dr. Harris as the Prime Minister. The Governor General has subsequently responded to us, indicating that he doesn't have the constitutional mandate to do what we asked of him. We also submitted, myself in particular, submitted a motion of no confidence to the clerk of the National Assembly. The clerk had replied, indicating that legal advice is being sought. The motion should have been heard by the latest next week, Monday. However, as you have heard and as you have indicated, Dr. Harris has now dissolved the National Assembly. He has fired the 6 of us who signed that letter to the Governor General. It therefore means that within the next 90 days, we will have a general elections here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Mr. Richard, you spoke quite a bit as to the loss of confidence that yourself and the other 5 members would have lost in the leader of government business. But I want to backtrack a little bit because I did reach out to the Honorable Mark Brantley, who said initially, as it pertains to the motion, that you were the lead on this. Why such a charge? Why did you think it's important for you, particularly, to lead this charge of no confidence against Dr. Harris?
Well, in the first instance, some persons may know that I have served as the Deputy Prime Minister to Dr. Harris. And when the letter was written to the Governor General, it was indicated in that letter that the Honorable Shawn Richard is supported as the alternative to Dr. Harris as Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Additionally, with PAM having the majority of seats in the National Assembly and within the Team Unity Coalition, it was decided that I would lead the charge in terms of sending the motion of no confidence to the Speaker to have it debated within the National Assembly.
Charge and being the next leader of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis?
Sorry, but I did not hear the first part of your question.
Based on your statements and the confidence you said that was brought about by the other members, are you still willing and interested in leading the charge to be the next Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis?
Indeed, I am most willing, I am most able, and I will confidently say that I will be the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right. I want to address something because one of the things that the Honorable Dr. Harris said in his address, and we've also learned of this before, is your absence from Parliament for quite a bit of a time. Explain to me, as a sitting member, why did you see it necessary to be absent from Parliament for that length of a time? I believe somewhere around 90 days. I may be wrong. You can correct me and tell me how long it has been. But why did you decide just to not show up at all?
Well, firstly, let me correct you. I think you meant absence from cabinet as opposed to parliament.
That's correct. Sorry.
The fact is that parliament has not sat for the year. Secondly, Dr. Harris has blatantly lied to the public by saying that I have been absent from cabinet for 91 days because cabinet has not met 91 times since I have been absent. If he's counting the total period from since I have not attended cabinet, then perhaps he would be correct. Cabinet normally meets once per week, which is on Mondays. So if he's going to indicate to the public the number of meetings of the cabinet that I have been absent from, then he should count those days in which cabinet met and I have been absent. The short answer is that there was an issue in which my name was being used for his political purposes, his negative political purposes. I took exception to it, and as a mark of protest, I decided I am not going to attend any meetings of the cabinet. I must say that since then I have been exonerated in terms of that particular political issue.
Thank you so much. Now, with hindsight being 2020 and of course moving along, election will be called and you have 90 days to do so. I want to talk to the voters. I want you to speak to the voters, not only in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but we have quite a number of voters in the territory of the Virgin Islands who from time to time, if they can, would take the opportunity and travel back to the Federation and exercise their right to vote. As a representative for the constituency number 5, what do you say to persons in the Virgin Islands who are voting members of the Federation and St. Kitts and Nevis, and as they look on at the onset and unrest that has taken place, what would you say to them? I want you to speak to them directly.
What I would say to those persons who reside in the British Virgin Islands but were eligible to vote in any elections in St. Kitts and Nevis is that the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement, who were part of the Team Unity administration, are now pursuing real unity. Real unity intends to address the concerns of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and to bring a better standard of living to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are committed to the people, unlike the gentleman who is now illegally holding on to power. We are persons who stand on principle. We are persons whose words you can trust. As a matter of fact, PAM is campaigning on the theme, Keeping the Promise. What is keeping the promise all about? Keeping the promise, it means that we are committed to all of the promises that we made to the electorate. We are committed to bringing a better standard of living to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are committed to ensuring that we have an investment climate that is conducive to all those who want to invest in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are committed to giving all citizens, regardless of which political party they support, their fair share of all of the resources available in St. Kitts and Nevis. Unlike Dr. Harris, for us, it is not about family and friends. It is not about just the persons who support our political party. We recognize that in order for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to fully develop, we need to harness the resources of all of our citizens. We do believe that every citizen has something to offer in terms of the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. We want to create a better climate for our children, not just educationally, but to ensure that they, as the beneficiaries, as the country that we build, will be able to continue to build upon the foundation that we are now putting in place for them. Persons would recognize that it is the People's Action Movement which gave St. Kitts the solid foundation on which it now stands, whether it is a citizenship by investment program, Port Zante, the roads to the Southeast Peninsula, the SELF program, which pays for textbooks and examination fees, the Schools Meals program, which affords our children in the primary schools a free lunch each and every school day. That these are programs which were initiated by the People's Action Movement. As part of Team Unity, it is also the ministers of the People's Action Movement who have been quite integral in a number of the programs that we have put in place, whether it is the housing program and the reduced interest rates, whether it is the building of the second cruise ship pier, and Minister Grant, who has been the Minister of Tourism, has been voted last year as the best performing Minister of Tourism within the Caribbean. Our education sector has made strides. We have made strides in terms of the build-out of our public infrastructure. The 10% increase, which is being paid to civil servants this month, it was myself who raised this critical matter when the budget for this year was being discussed in October of last year. As a matter of fact, while Dr. Harris is trying to take credit for it, persons can look at the budget estimates, which was debated in Parliament in December of 2021, and would see for himself or herself that this was actually budgeted for since then. So we have been keeping our promise. We have been looking after the affairs of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We recognize that there is work to be done, and we are most willing and able to do the work that is to be done to continue to move the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis forward.
Mr. Richards, I want to thank you once again for your time and your honesty in sharing as it pertains to what has taken place and, of course, what has led to this as one of the members who were fired from Dr. Harris. But moving forward, you have committed and shared your commitment in moving the Federation forward. I want to thank you once again. And we do here in the Virgin Islands also wish you, as well as all the other persons sitting on the government now preparing for election, the very best.
Thank you, sir. And once more, I take the opportunity to wish you the very best and to also wish the people of the British Virgin Islands the very best. To the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, I say, keep the faith. Real unity between PAM and CCM is here to continue to serve the best interest of all of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. We crave your support and we continue to look forward to your support. And on election day, we ask that you vote for the candidates of the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Viewers, that is all the time we have, of course, panning across the region to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, weighing in on the situation on the ground. Of course, we just spoke with Shawn K. Richards. Prior to that, we spoke with Mr. Chelsea Hamilton and Mr. Timothy A. Keynes, who gave all different perspectives on the situation. We are all essentially one brother and sisters across the region, not exempt from our political problems on the ground, but we stay committed to making sure that you are informed. Ron Grant for 284 Media. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.